and thanks for being with us here at the table. I'm Rachel and I'm joined today by these fabulous women here, Mary Ellen, Fiona and Julie.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
You've survived your week?
Just
Sure have.
You're hanging in there?
Still rolling.
Still rolling. Glad you're still here. Well, today we're going to be chatting to a sleeping coach. I'm really excited about this. We are asking questions about how to get your babies, toddlers and kids to sleep. So for all those parents out there not getting enough shut-eye, stay awake for this one. And would you want to know if a convicted pedophile moved into your neighbourhood, your street or even next door? We've also got Mandy Makes coming up and Gia and Oliver in the kitchen cooking oatmeal biscuits. But to start things off, we're going to play a little game. It's called Hospital Bag Bingo.
A game. I love games.
Oh, look, you're like, good. So I have a bag here. I'm going to open it up. Right. Hopefully I don't knock anything over. I'm going to pull some stuff out and you can tell me if you used it or not. If you don't know what it is, Mary Ellen asked.
I will keep asking.
All right, we've got our wipes.
Yes.
Did your hospital provide any?
Yes, my hospital did provide some, but I also took some.
Yeah.
The first pregnancy, yes, I did.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
totally
take them
need it.
anywhere,
Yeah.
not even just pregnancy, like household,
That's
everyday
right, for
household.
cleaning as well.
Oh, I still
I
use
have them
it.
in my car so I can clean my car.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they're fantastic.
Okay, here.
No.
Beanie.
No.
No.
Some hospitals can be quite cold.
That
Get
cold
cold
though?
head?
Yeah, I've
Dunno.
heard that. I've heard that you get cold feet as well.
I wasn't
so you
thinking
take
about my
some
head
salts.
when I was in labour.
Oh, see, I was absolutely freezing in
Were you?
hospital, but I have Raynaud's, which sort of is bad circulation and, yeah.
So did you take a beanie?
No, I didn't take a beanie. Probably wouldn't have been opposed to
Yeah.
one if someone had sort of suggested it to me, but
I got my
was...
hair done. I did my hair before I had the
did you?
twins.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you have makeup on to go as well?
I had the red lipstick. Don't joke. I really like get my lipstick, get my blush out. I think I had too much time on my hands. I was going down. I
in the
wasn't going
hospital?
down without a fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it for photos and things? Or
No,
just
this was just I wanted to look good
yeah,
giving birth.
The mental.
Wow.
Fiona still got it. You still got it.
I wish I had
Wow.
because my first birth, I just looked like death. It was terrible. And then for, my second, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to look that bad this time. And I put makeup on before I went as well. I at least, I looked like
Yes.
I'd done labour, but I didn't look, dead.
I didn't think about it either time. Yeah. Photos looked dead in both. Yeah. Both times.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
No, it's not.
All right.
Turning you off.
It's got to be an easy one.
Please tell me they're for the baby and not for you.
They're for the baby.
Rachel, pause.
You don't get your body back that quickly.
Actually, in the hospital, you can freeze them and you can use them as
Really? When your
breast
milk comes in.
Yes.
Babies
yes.
Solid
nappies.
rock.
Yes.
We had
pain.
cabbages.
Yeah, well, the nurses told me I could use the nappies as well.
I never
if
knew
wanted.
that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the milk came out like a cow when my milk. Yeah, I was
But
like.
it's so painful.
was
You know
very
when you're hiking in the freezing cold and you knock your hand on a rock? Yeah.
Especially as a first time mum.
I'm watching Mary Ellen. She's horrified.
First time mum.
But I've got a list here from Baby Centre and it's quite a comprehensive list of stuff that they've actually got on the list. Did you guys see it?
I did.
Yeah. Was there anything on there that you were like, I wouldn't have even thought of that?
Many things.
Oh, like what?
The fan, getting your husband to bring a fan so he can fan your face and cool you down. I think I would have punched him if he tried to do that.
I actually had the Samoan illy, the Samoan fan.
Oh, yeah.
So my husband, because I was hot, so he was fanning me down with that. So I didn't take that with me. I pretty much took everything except for some of the items, like a massage oil. I didn't take a massage oil. And the heat packs. An oil burner. I don't know.
Yeah, no, didn't take them. I was foolish enough the first time to take a pack of cards thinking I'd actually get to play them while I was
With
labour.
your husband? Yeah.
Yeah, didn't end up using those.
Yeah.
When I was in labour, I wanted the room dark, no one in the room, don't speak to me, leave me alone.
Was your husband all right with that?
I don't even remember him being there. I think he was.
Did
Yeah.
you want to punch him at any moment?
And when the nurse came in,
You just bypassed it.
yeah, when
So
the nurse came in, if I had to speak to them, I'd speak to them. But
Yep.
other than that, leave me alone.
And then afterwards you
Yeah.
have all the visitors come at once, and so it's like the
Mine was like the cinemas because I was having twins. We had
Yeah.
like 12 people
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Really?
It's like by the end of the pregnancy, it was like, oh look, everyone's poked and prodded, whatever. Bring them all in. Have a good
No
look.
privacy, nothing left.
It was all your dignity out the door, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I found a list of things that I thought was really interesting that people brought that I never would have thought of, like your laptop to do your work emails after the baby.
See, that would have
born.
been the first thing that I would have thought to
The
bring.
millennials, of course.
Yeah.
Laptop and charger, 100%.
I did take my laptop
So did I.
for afterwards. Yeah.
You brought your laptop? Yeah. Did
I was
you
studying
use it?
after, in the days afterwards because I was studying at the time.
Yeah, okay. They say if you're going for a C-section, straws are good. So that, like, you just don't have to bend over to drink the water and that sort of thing. Someone put on their list a hand mirror, so if you want to check out your stitches afterwards, you can.
No, thank you.
I was in labour and the nurse actually offered me a mirror to see if I wanted to see what was happening. And I nearly decked her. I'm like, no way, I don't want to see that.
No.
And coffee.
Oh,
Coffee. I guess if you're not breastfeeding,
yeah.
that could work afterwards, maybe. Only if you're bottle feeding.
Being a new mum, maternity pads. I bled like the Red Sea. So it was like, wow. And my girlfriends, Mary Ellen's like, what the?
Yeah, I didn't know this was even a thing.
For
Exactly,
about
like-
6 weeks afterwards, just to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my girlfriends bought like all the maternity pads and breast pads
nice
for
of
like
them.
the milk.
Oh, wow.
Because I just didn't know. I had no clue. So I
You could
think
do
those
up a
things are more
nice pack
practical.
for a friend, couldn't you, at a baby
Because
shower?
the first time round, you don't
Yeah.
necessarily think of all these
Yeah.
things, and that's why it's really good. We'll actually put that list up on our Facebook page, if you like, from the Baby Centre, because it's got a huge list that you can go through and decide if it works for you. If you've got any other ideas or things that we missed, jump onto our Facebook page and let us know about them. We're going to hand you over to Mandy now. She's doing a finishing powder. Take a look.
This is a super simple makeup DIY that will help stop any of that shine that you get on your skin. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder, 1 teaspoon of zinc oxide. Then for the colour, I have 1/4 teaspoon of cocoa powder and a pinch of cinnamon. Now for variations, depending on your skin tone, you can check out our magazine or let us know on our Facebook page if you want the recipes for your different skin tones. So for this, I'm using a spice or a coffee grinder. So I'm going to start by just mixing my dry ingredients into the bowls here and just giving that a little bit of a stir. And now I'm going to pop it on top of my spice grinder. Now the reason why I'm using this is that for our finishing powder to look good on our skin, we need it to be super fine. So this grinder is going to do just that job for us. So I'm just going to do about half of my mixture at a time. All right, let's add in the rest. All right, and we'll just finish grinding till all that mixture has come through. I'm just going to add a drop of vitamin E oil. This just helps to bind things together as well and add some nourishment to our skin. Just going to give that a little mix up with my spoon here. So this powder is now beautiful and super, super fine, so that's going to go on our skin really smoothly. Right, and I have this little makeup jar here that I'm going to put my powder into. And to use this powder, I'm simply going to use a large makeup brush, lightly dip it in there, tap off any excess, and then simply apply to your skin. Now it's a little hard to show you properly on my wrist, but this powder comes through pretty translucent, so it's simply going to soak up the oil from your skin. That's the job of that arrowroot powder, and leave you looking shine-free and beautiful all day long. We'd love to hear from you if you try this recipe and what you think about it. Let us know on our Facebook page at The Table TV Show.
There you go, shine free. Maybe you can add that to your hospital bag when you're sweating. You would.
Yeah, I know, right? No, actually, no finishing powder. It doesn't blend in with my skin.
Okay.
Okay, I know.
Yeah. I look like a white ghost.
Welcome to my world. Okay, all the time. The news.com website reported recently that the Victorian government is considering a new plan to publicly share information about sex offenders. It's already available to those in authority like police, but the push now is for concerned citizens to be able to apply to a special commissioner to get that information on child sex offenders, you know, where they might be living. And when I say living, I mean their residential, not their actual address, but their suburb and that sort of thing. But would you want to know if there was a pedophile living next door to you?
Yes.
You would want to know.
Absolutely, I'd want to know. Yeah, I think sexual aggravated assault, any sexual crimes are In my books, probably, apart from murder, the most serious crimes. And I think if there's someone who's potentially could do that next door to me, absolutely I'd want to know about it.
Would you move? Knowing, what are you going to do knowing that information?
If I had the means to move, I would definitely consider it.
But you don't know where you're moving. Like, you don't know who's going to live next door.
That's
And that's the question I've asked myself. I've got daughters.
Yeah, I've asked.
You know, I've got daughters, and I would certainly want to know. But then, what would I do differently?
Yeah.
Is it better the devil you know?
I would want to know. I definitely want to know. Like you have children, girls, and being that protective mum, I would want to know if the pedophile was near, you know, on the way to school or near a park that we went to. I probably would just avoid going past that house.
But you don't know the address, do you? You only know
No,
the
you don't
suburb.
know. No one is publishing their address. It's just the suburb that they're in.
So then, how can you avoid a park or you know, walking down a street? Or,
Well, the numbers
You
are
don't know if it's
astronomical
a-
about how
yeah.
many is out there, so they are everywhere.
Yeah.
I guess what comes to mind, though, is rehabilitation and the potential for reoffending, because I know some people serve their time and probably will never offend again. And so I'm just wondering, you know, is it the sort of thing where you just don't change?
Well,
I actually think, like, how can you change someone that's capable of grooming an innocent, you know, and intentionally harming innocent people? How do you change that? How do you rehab?
Can I read something that I found? And this is from Harvard Health Publishing. So it's the Harvard Medical School, and they put a document together and they had collated a lot of research. And they said it's an abnormal sexual behaviour. Researchers have found no effective treatment.
Wow.
Like other sexual orientations, paedophilia is unlikely to change. The goal of treatment, therefore, is to prevent someone from acting on those urges. There is no cure, so the focus is on protecting children.
I've heard that.
There's still not conclusive information out there that rehabilitation is possible or even works, even on a nice big level, you know?
And I think even as a mum, I would want to prevent my child from being in that vicinity or in that area by knowing that information. It's like if it was a dog, you know, you don't know what the dog's thinking. So I'm going to prevent my child from getting bitten prior to it happening.
That's right. It's about the protection. You know, when an alcoholic sort of gets rehabilitated, they're not going to put them to work back in a bottle shop, are they? So we have to be careful about where they're being placed after they come out, don't we? Isn't that part of it? Don't you think?
Yeah, I guess the argument against this law that I've heard is they're worried about protecting the privacy of these people that have gone to jail. And, you know, that's
And
the argument
preventing
against
attacks, is that
preventing
what-
it from happening again. But I guess what we're doing is we're weighing up the rights of the pedophile with the rights of protecting our children. And as mums, you know, that's what we're always going to be doing is it's just instinct in us to protect our children above all else.
What about forgiveness? Where does that play into things? And especially for victims, I think it's one thing to say, yeah, I don't want a pedophile to move next door, but as people who have probably, I don't know if any of you have ever sort of come into contact with something like this, but for those who haven't, it's not really an issue that you think about very much. But for someone who has affected, how do you forgive someone like that?
I think for me, forgiveness is about coming to peace with my own self about things, but it does not mean you tolerate that behaviour. It's unacceptable on every level.
Like, I'm not about to go and break bread with this person personally. I know that once they've done their time for whatever the crime is, who am I to judge that person in terms of be a continual enforcer or, you know, be a vigilante to that person. So I'm not trying to be in their way, and I'm also not trying to put my kids in their way either.
And that's as mums what our main thing to do is to protect our children, and that's what I think we need to focus on. What we can do to protect our children.
I do think we should know, though.
Yeah, well, look, I was going to
parents.
say, I think the big issue here is that we've all got to be on the same page as a community and as a village. We've got to sort of care for our children together. This is a sensitive topic. Please ask for help if you need it. But yeah, thanks, ladies. That's a really sort of sensitive topic. How do you feel about it if someone moved next door to you? Would you want to know about it? Well, we're going to move on to a lighter topic for now. We're going to take you into the kitchen with Gia and Olive. They're going to cook some oatmeal crackers. Might be good for the school lunchbox.
It's raining sultanas. So we are making crackers. They're great for kids' lunchboxes and they're so simple to make. They're whole, which is great. Are you going to make them for me? 3 cups of rolled oats. It's really heavy. And we need 1/3 of a cup of wholemeal flour. Oh, okay, I'll give you another one. And 1/4 cup of olive oil. Be careful putting it in. That's it, put it all in. Tap, tap, tap. And 1 teaspoon of salt, just pink Himalayan salt, a good salt. Okay, you go on. Put the rest in. Now, that's the base recipe. With that, you can add sultanas to make it sweet, but today I'm actually going to add just a few seeds. You can put those in. What seeds are they? Do you know those? Big ones if they are. They're sunflower seeds. These are sesame seeds. You can throw those in. The kids love these. They're so... Yeah, go for it. And I'm going to mix it together. Go put them in there. And then you have to... Okay, all right. So we've forgotten the water, which we're going to add. It's just 2/3 cup of water. So 1/3, 2/3. I'm going to use my hands. Yeah, because you really need to mix it. That's okay, you don't have to do it. Are you too tired? It's a hard life, isn't it, for you? Yeah. Okay, I'll do it. So knead it really well with your hands, and it needs to be like a gluten consistency. If you don't attend a recipe club and you're into cooking and stuff, find one near you. It's so much fun and you get so many ideas. At the recipe club, a lady that attends said to me, why don't you try putting them in a sandwich press? And I was like, wow, that's an awesome idea. She's like, put them in there and cook them like that. They'll turn out really good. I've got the sandwich press on already. I've put baking paper there, and you just throw what you've got there, the mixture, on the baking paper, and then you use your hand just to spread it out a bit. Don't burn yourself, okay? And then what I do is I'll just put baking paper on top, and I'll use either a rolling pin if you want, or I'll just use a cup just to roll it out until it's nice and thin and flat. Now, I like to use a knife to actually cut it gently. These are so rustic and so whole. They do taste very, very good. And I'm going to put some black sesame seeds on top just to give it some of that nice flavour. It's going to actually press in, okay. So, and roll the sesame seeds in. Okay. And so this will take about 20 minutes in the sandwich press. Just check it every few minutes or every 10 minutes or 5-10 minutes, and we'll be back to see the end result. Bye. So our crackers are now ready, our wholemeal crackers, and they cooked so well. So if you could see here, if you tap them, they're quite hard there. You know they're going to be crunchy. They look awesome. We haven't dirtied anything because we've actually used baking paper. I'm just going to pull it off. Oh, it's hot. Put it down on the counter, and I'm going to use a knife just to cut where I already had cut. And it doesn't matter what they look like because the kids love them just as they are. If you've got some hummus for a lunchbox, I like putting them for, like if we go on a picnic, I put some hummus in a little jar, and then I've got the crackers in a little container. Love it. Look at that. They taste awesome. So healthy crackers. Don't forget, if you want to make them sweet, you can. Just add some dried fruit to it. You know what? This recipe's a winner. My kids love it. And with some hummus, any dip, in a lunchbox, ready to go. Hope you enjoy our recipe.
Thanks, Jer and Olive. Now, if you want more healthy recipe ideas you can try at home, we've got a great little recipe book here for you. This week's free giveaway, it's called Health and Happiness. All you need to do to get your copy is to give us your name, your postal address, and the name of the book, Health and Happiness. Just email us at hello@thetabletv.com. But if you'd prefer to call us, you can do that in Australia on 1300 300 389, and in New Zealand, give us a buzz on 0800 694 673. The details are right there on your screen. Well, actor James Franco said, "I don't even like to sleep. I feel like there's too much to do." He might be an adult, but I feel like he stole that motto from my kids. But the fight for our right to have the sleep we need, we have paediatric sleep coach here, Cheryl Finkelson, in the studio. For about 10 years, she's been teaching parents to help their kids to sleep. Cheryl, welcome. Yes, I mean that with all my heart. You know, I wish I had met you 8 years ago because sleep has just been atrocious in our household. I know you have a passion for it. Where did that passion come from?
Well, it came many years ago, having my own children and then watching my children have their children and seeing all they went through. Because when we were younger, it somehow seemed easier because I had more help. And the children here, with a fast living life and everybody wanting to work and different needs, they're just so important for everybody to get sleep.
It is.
Yeah.
So what are some of the common mistakes that parents make when trying to learn to put kids to sleep?
It's not only children, it's us as well. There's a couple of things, like routine is key to everything. Consistency. Finding that sleep window. When we're really tired, we fight it. The same thing happens with children. When they're tired, when they're showing you that they're tired, we don't action on it. So there's a couple of things that are so important. And those are a regular routine for grown-ups and adults. And of course, working with our biological clock. What happens is our biological clock is at about 10:30. How many of us really go to sleep at even 11? You know, so you're working against your biological clock, which means you get tired. So with the children, a lot of them, talking about younger children, 6:30 is their biological time for bed. So work with it, and it makes it easier for them. What happens is melatonin is released, which makes it easier for them to sleep. That's the sleep hormone, which we call the Dracula hormone, because it only comes out at night. So that is what happens at 6:30. The melatonin is released. And if we don't work with that, what happens is a hormone called cortisol is released, which then acts as adrenaline, which gets them
Is that
hyped
second
up.
win that you
That's
get?
it.
Even as
So
an
what
adult?
happens as an adult? So what happens? The brain says, "Oh no, you shouldn't be going to sleep."
Yeah.
So it hypes you up and
Yes.
gives you that second win, as commonly known.
You
And
see it in
then-
kids too.
Yeah, they find they look quiet, and then all of a sudden they're running
Ready to have a
around.
party. Ready to have a
Lunatics,
party.
you know.
Are some people just morning people though, and some people night people?
Oh,
And that-
definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. There are morning people and night people, but you still need that same amount of sleep.
Sleep, yeah.
Right. Which
So-
would be for an adult, for a parent.
Again,
for
it's
a
different.
child.
Everybody's different, but on an average, 8 hours for an adult, you know, give or take. And for children, it varies with different ages. So it is so important.
Can I throw a controversial one at you? How do you feel about controlled crying?
That was going to be my question.
Absolutely
big one.
anti-controlled crying,
Really?
and I'm anti-controlled crying and cried out. I have a gentle
Why?
approach.
Yeah.
Because adrenaline is released, because the child is confused. So you're putting the child in. Do you know if the child's brought up and is having trouble in the cot if you're outside? You know, you put it in and you walk out. And controlled crying is you go in, settle them, walk out, let them cry for a while, then you go back in. So it's a little bit of mixed messages that you're giving, and remember that consistency that I spoke about. So the technique that I have is a gentle technique where we stay with the child until they're asleep. If you need to help them, as in patting or shushing or whatever, you're there to help them. And my approach is a gentle approach. So we move away slowly,
Okay.
which then we have no attachment problems and no insecurity. So they learn that they can sleep while you're there, and then we move further away over time. So they learn you're still there, but they can do it on their own. And so we go further away.
So do you have mothers and babies actually come to you and you work
No.
with them, or how do you work?
I go have a consultation with them, tell them what to do. If they need me, I go and help them. But I actually like to teach them. So I empower the parents to be able to help their children. So we SMS, if they are helping the children and they are having a problem, they SMS me and I answer straight away. So I'm literally holding their hand, although I'm not there the
I'm
whole
a big
time.
co-sleeper. My kids are three under three, and we all co-sleep together. The husband has his own room. But my point is, as a mum, how do you detach? Because I feel like, these girls won't be sleeping anywhere until, they're 7 or whatever. I'm more than happy for them to be
You know
in
what?
that bed.
When you actually make up your mind and that's the right thing for you and the children, it'll be the right time.
I like you. That's good.
It'll be the right time. The only thing I'm not happy with is I believe that a husband and wife must be together as soon as they can. Mm-hmm. You need to get back, and the only place that ever belongs to you and your husband is your bed.
Yeah.
The rest belongs to all the children. Nothing belongs to you the minute you have
Yeah, they
children.
do take over everything.
Yeah, I think those girls have definitely got it twisted. They actually think it's our room.
Exactly.
And that Dad has his own room.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what sort of success rate are you having?
I would comfortably say a 95% success rate. Where you have the problem is, I so often go into homes and mothers are so sleep deprived, and fathers, and you go in and you actually can see that there's nothing left in that marriage because they actually can't talk to each other. And my most rewarding thing is day after day, I hear the difference in their voice. It just can take one day.
Is that because we're too hard on ourselves, or we've stuck to some certain rules?
We think we've got to be
do it like
perfect.
this, or
And you
as
don't...
parents, should we just adapt to what's working for you? If you're tired, rest. If your child's tired, let them rest. Or
There's no such a thing as rest. We've got to be perfect. So when the child's resting, instead of the mother resting, she's doing the washing, she's doing the cooking. So all I'm really doing is giving them permission not to do that. They know that they don't have to, but they want everything to be perfect. So over this period that you're having a bit of problems, be kind to yourself.
I think as first-time mums, we do want to do everything perfectly. I remember being, first-time mum 20 years ago, and you want to be the perfect wife, you want to be the perfect mother, you want to... Social media wasn't around. I didn't have that pressure. There's that pressure as well now. And
yes.
That's hard to let go of.
The important thing is for people to know there is help out there for them. And so often they don't. And they think if their baby's not sleeping, it's a reflection on them. When in actual fact it isn't.
That's how I felt.
Pure love that maybe the child's not sleeping.
Yeah, I blamed myself with my first one, and then my second one slept. And that's when I realised, it's not just me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
I feel really bad. I just popped them on. I just fed them. Every time they cried, I just fed them.
Well, look, Cheryl, I'm sure you are a blessing to so many families out there. Thank you so much. People, if you've got questions and you want to talk to her, she's on social media. The Sleep Coach is her Facebook page, and thesleepcoach.com.au. Cheryl, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. All the best. And as I said, contact her. You can also contact us on social media. Ladies, it's been a pleasure. We will see you next week. Bye.